After spending a long weekend with the Hyundai i20 in the Austrian Alps, I've deduced that this car is one of the best small cars you can buy, despite some not overly convincing reviews by other motoring journalists. In this video, I'll try and justify my verdict. Without wishing to start on a back foot, I must say that the exterior design is not my cup of tea, but I can see why the sharp, crisp styling could appeal to some. I do think rivals like the Renault Clio offer better proportioned and less excessively styled exterior designs. The interior of this car is really good, and that's mainly down to the fact that there's lots of kit in here. So even though this is a hire car, we still have heated seats, self-parking, adaptive drive modes, two USB points in the front and another one in the back, and a 12-volt socket as well. We have climate control, which is really powerful. You can change where you want the air to go. We've got 4 electric windows. We've got cruise control. We've got the automatic sign recognition, everything you could ever want. And you also have a digital driver display as well, which is fairly crisp. The infotainment is another strong point because it's really easy and intuitive to use. You've got these physical buttons on the side, which are really easy to hit on the move. And this one here is programmable. The infotainment itself is really crisp and sharp, and Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is wireless. It doesn't have a physical map of its own in the car, but that's not really an issue when you can just use Google Maps on your phone. Interior plushness is alright. We've got soft leathery style stuff on the door cards, as well as on the gear lever. The only issue is things like these grab handles feel really cheap and nasty. The other thing which is good about this interior is the fact that nothing creaks. I haven't heard any creaks or rattles in this car at all, which is nice. Interior space is really good in this car. We've got plenty of headroom, plenty of legroom, big door bins in the front and the back. I know they can swallow up big sized bottles, and the windows are quite large. It just makes it feel really nice and airy and inviting, so that's a positive thing about this interior. Space in the back of this car is really good. You've got plenty of knee room, and I'm 6'1". You've also got plenty of space to stretch out your feet, and the seats themselves are jacked up quite high off the floor, so you have plenty of under thigh support, so you can easily do long 3-hour journeys in this car and not get in any pain. You might think that the fact that the seats are high off the ground might hamper headroom, but no, I've got plenty of space as someone who's 6'1", probably about 4 fingers. It's 4 fingers worth of space. It's not particularly plush in here. We've got the same door handles again, which feel really cheap, and the lever you get on the door cards in the front doesn't extend to the back, but it's not too bad. And we've got electric windows as well, which is nice. You can also have Isofix, which is handy if you have baby seats, and I'm sure they'd fit in here really well because the doors open nice and wide as well. Boot space for the i20 comes in at 352 litres, which is pretty good for this class of car, although the Skoda Fabia will offer more space. Fortunately, the seats fold down in a nice handy 60-40 formation. What I didn't mention earlier in the review is the reversing camera, which is great resolution too. There are also parking sensors at the front and rear on all but the entry level specs. Speccing the powertrain for your i20 is very simple because there's only one option. It's a good thing then that this engine ticks almost all the boxes. This mild hybrid 1-litre 3-cylinder non-turbo engine produces 99 brake horsepower and actually does a good job of keeping up in traffic. 0 to 60 takes 10.4 seconds in case you're wondering. You can also opt the i20 with a manual or an automatic gearbox, but I would opt the manual even though I tested the auto box in Austria, because it's quite a bit cheaper and suits the driving dynamics of the car far better. I have heard that the gear changes in this manual though aren't the smoothest. Where the benefits of the mild hybrid tech should I say, becomes apparent is with the MPG, where you can expect about 45 MPG in the real world. To drive, I think the i20 is geared up well. The ride is on the firm side, but in the beautifully smooth roads of the Austrian Alps, I didn't notice that at all. What the mountain roads did help to test though is the handling, which is where the firmer suspension setup pays dividends. It corners flat and there's lots of grip. The steering is accurate, although it's not the most engaging. The Renault Clio is far better in this respect. Where most people will be driving this car though is around town, which is where the i20 makes your life super easy. The steering is light, the turning circle is tight, and the mild hybrid system cuts the engine out almost seamlessly. On the motorway the car feels solid, but road noise is a little high. There are 4 trims to choose from, and I'd advise stepping up to the second rung premium trim costing £22,680, as it adds air conditioning, a heated steering wheel, front parking sensors and heated seats for only about £1,000. The main benefit of the ultimate trim, which is the top spec trim, are a sunroof, blind spot monitoring and an upgraded sound system, but for an extra £2,000 I would keep the money. Pricing in general is a little steep when compared to rivals, but at least Hyundai does offer a 5-year warranty which offers good peace of mind. Overall, I think the i20 is good at all the things a small car should be good at. It's easy to drive, has intuitive tech, has a peppy and efficient powertrain, it even has the added bonus of excellent rear seat space. It may have a cheap feeling interior, but on a small car I would argue that's a nice to have feature rather than an essential, and it doesn't stop me from putting it as my runner-up small car of the year on my buyer's guide, coming second only to the Renault Clio. I must point out though that there are a lot of cars that hover around the 9 out of 10 category like this Hyundai i20. Cars like the Skoda Fabia also get a 9 out of 10 from me. The only car that is leaps and bounds ahead of the competition is the Renault Clio.